1 a.m. and 1 p.m. 1 a.m. because I got a lot of night owls who seem to, like me, don't like sleeping, like staying up late. So we're here to chat about Freemasonry. So any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? Jump in the chat and let me know what you think. I was recently or earlier in today's stream talking about Moneyball and why I think that both the book and the movie present a lot of valuable lessons which we can apply to Freemasonry. So I hope that you guys will check out the earlier stream today. And if not, I hope that you guys will just jump in the chat and say hello. And if you have any thoughts about Freemasonry in the interim, let me know. I don't think I'm going to do a long stream. These 1 a.m. streams are just kind of hangout streams, so we see who wants to join and who wants to chat and who wants to talk about things. I tend not to have a lot of like specific talking points. Carl, how's it going? Having said that, we could revisit Moneyball once again, or you can learn about my Moneyball thoughts on Medium. No worries if you can't stay, Smokey. Just thank you for being here. Thank you for the hearts. And I'll talk to you again soon. But no need to stick around if you got to run. I just appreciate the support, as always. We're just going to give it a few minutes, and we're going to see who joins. Like I said, these 1 p.m. streams are more relaxing. Tomorrow's 1 p.m. stream. I guess today's 1 p.m. stream, technically. It's going to be talking about maritime Freemasonry, or Freemasons and the Maritimes, specifically, but not exclusively, some Freemasonry and pirate stuff. I was going to talk about that today. However, I've been doing so much kind of social media stuff about baseball or posting about baseball on my personal channels. I thought a baseball-themed discussion might be of more value. Hello, Ryan. I hope that you are doing well. Hello, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. Wee woo, he says. Was that from a TV show back in the day? Good. I'm glad that you got to go. It's always fun. A lot of times in the States, they don't open up their meetings for EA. So the fact that you got to go to a meeting, I think is awesome. Congratulations. I hope you had a good time. Holy cow. Why don't you ever invite me to these parties, Smokey? I'd come to your party of 147 people. Tell them all to like and subscribe. Well, so there's two sides of it, right? There's Freemasonry and like the quote unquote legitimate, if you will, seafarers, right? So just to give an example, I'm trying to just find the list I had of. I had a list here somewhere. So some Freemasons who were themselves sailors and captains, Sir Ernest Shackleton, Sir James Clark Ross, Francis Beaufort. He actually created the Beaufort-Windforce scale. James Cook, Amundsen, Richard Burton, Matthew Flinders, Horatio Nelson, hero of the Napoleonic Wars, John Paul Jones, father of the American Navy, was a Freemason. I'm going to talk about him more. Earl Jellicoe, British Admiral during World War I. Admiral Richard E. Byrd, American naval officer and explorer, led multiple Antarctic expeditions. John Paul Jones as the father of the American Navy. I think that's a really cool connection between Freemasonry and sailing or the Maritimes. However, supposedly there were some pirates who were also Freemasons. Such as, or so they say anyways, I'm just trying to find the list now of Freemasons who were pirates. I had it somewhere. And the Pirates of Penzance was also said to actually be a Masonic in origins, in that it actually referenced the the reunification of the Grand Lodge of England between the ancients and the moderns. Also, Oak Island is a famous kind of Masonic ideal, right? Or people keep thinking there's treasure on Oak Island buried from the Freemasons, the Knights Templar, etc., etc. Even the District Grand Lodge of Lebanon notes. Let me see if I can find it. When the Spanish Inquisition was established in the New World after 1492, the Templar pirates extended their attacks to the Caribbean and even to the Pacific ports of Peru and Mexico, all in the name of a war that was fought for 200 years. The history of the Knights Templars is mentioned in several books and is well read by most Freemasons. It covers the world of pirates and the Templars and is so engaging, etc., etc. The idea that the Knights Templars actually relied on pirates to ship them overseas. When, on October 13th, 1307, Philip launched the powerful surprise attack on all French Templar facilities, capturing 15,000 men, besides his Grand Master Jacques de Molay and his guards of 60 men. They said 24 men managed to escape and enter Templar naval fleet of the French ports, at which time they supposedly got safe passage thanks to pirates. But there was a famous pirate as a Freemason, and I can't think of who it was now. I mean, John Paul Jones was kind of a buccaneer, so like a state-sponsored pirate. Well, I personally view it more as, well, like I said, if you want to know my personal opinion, for whatever it's worth, I think what happened is there was a set of Knights Templars that escaped, because nobody's perfect, no king, no anything, so you're not going to get 100% success. And they managed to escape, possibly through pirates or otherwise. And then whatever Knights Templar managed to escape, basically just lived out the rest of their lives in exile, wherever they landed. Right, that's my opinion on it. I don't think that they passed on any of their Templar knowledge to Freemasons, especially because there's about 300 years gap between the end of the Knights Templars and the start of Freemasonry, give or take. Maybe it was Captain Morgan. I have to my list, so I just have my notes with me. Famous Freemason pirate. Maybe, who was it? Well, no, I think you're thinking of the William Morgan affair, which was a whole different thing. Oh, there it is. There was suggestion that Blackbeard was a Freemason. That's where I read. Sir Francis Drake, but he wasn't a pirate. Let's see, where was the evidence? I'm just pulling it up now. Yes, that's what it says here. But it says there's no confirmed proof, but there's stories that he was a Freemason. Let me see if I can find my... he was an English pirate. Let me see if I can find the info. We got a... Oh. Grand Lodge of Alberta posted this from 1970. All right, well, I'll find out more tomorrow. The Morgan affair obviously will come up, although it wasn't really a pirate thing per se, or even a naval thing. He was just lost at sea. Lost in a lake, really, actually. I don't even think it was sea, if I recall correctly. Let's see if I can find it. Well, I'll find it tomorrow, but Blackbeard... was reported by some to be a Freemason, based on, I believe it was some type of drinkings. Edward Teach was his actual real name. Well, I mean, so the story goes, I'll get it correct. It was in America, it was in New York, if I recall correctly. Um, Let me see. So he disappeared in 1826. He threatened to expose the secrets of Freemasons. He was last seen in Batavia, New York, so it was New York, I was right. Um, there was this belief that they took him out um, to a lake and basically killed him there, is what the anti-Masons say. If I recall correctly, let me see if I can find it here. Lake Ontario. In October of 1827, a badly decomposed body washed up on the shores of Lake Ontario. So that's the lake. Uh, Many presumed it to be Morgan. So that's kind of New York, Ontario. Many presumed it to be Morgan, and the body was buried as his. However, the wife of a missing Canadian named Timothy Monroe positively identified the clothing of the body as that which was worn by her husband at the time he disappeared. Right? My suspicion, honestly, and this might not make me the popular amongst Masons. My suspicion is the Masons probably killed him because they went crazy at the time. But there's no way to know for sure, right? He was arrested in New York. He was released, and then a body was, washed up on the shore. Nobody knows if it was his or not. There are conflicting reports. Um, the other options is he just fled town. Um, it was much easier, I think, to disappear back in the day than it was now in 1819 to 1850 or so. I guess 1819 to 1830 time frame. Much easier to disappear, or he could have just bribed his way out of it. He could have just paid the Masons off to leave him alone, or who knows what it was. But, the reason he was arrested had nothing to do with Freemasonry. It was debtor's loan, right? He also had a lot of debt at the time. So he went to debtor's prison. So I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if I found out a few crazy Freemasons who took things way too seriously at the time and probably suffered from some type of... I don't even think it was sharing the secrets per se. It's probably more like a group of Masons, it's like you get into a fight with your friends, right? This was back when you could have duels and stuff. So he pissed off a lot of guys and they didn't like him and they got into a fight. Might have been accidental. It wouldn't shock me, though. It would not shock me if that was the case. It also would not shock me if William Morgan just fled the country and lived his whole life in the woods somewhere under an assumed name. Or it would not shock me if he tried somehow to bribe his way out of it. But he was already massively in debt. That's where he went to debtor's prison, right? So I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But when people say, some Masons get super cranky about it and say there's no way, people do really stupid things sometimes. I'll say this. That was in 1826. I've been a Mason since 2007. The secrets have been exposed many times since I've been a Mason by many Masons. They're all still walking around alive and well out there, so... Oh, well then there you go. There you go. But yeah, I don't think anybody knows for sure, but yeah, it was Lake Ontario, a body washed up, no proof it was his. He was taken and arrested in New York for non-payment of loan. Right. A group of men convinced them to be released, and then he disappeared. Right. There were conflicting accounts of what happened next. This is from Wikipedia, by the way. I know it's not the best research, but this confirms what I've often been told. The generally accepted version of events is Morgan was taken in a boat in the middle of the Niagara River and thrown overboard, where he presumably drowned since he was never seen again in the community. In 1848, Henry L. Valance allegedly confessed in his death by taking part in Morgan's murder. So there you go. So, yeah, taken out to the Niagara River and thrown overboard, but nobody knows for sure. And again, the fact that he had so many debts might not have been Masons, might have been people who just to whom he owed money. That is very true as well. The secrets don't mean anything if you don't understand the money, or if you don't understand the money, if you don't understand the language. It certainly seems that our friend William Morgan did not understand money since he was often finding himself in debt. Could have been a combination of the Masons and the debts, or he could have borrowed money from the Masons, and that was what caused them to be so angry with them, as opposed to anything else, right? But yeah, so Alonzo, going back to the Templar thing, my view is, there was the order given in France to, execute all the Knights Templars. A percentage of them escaped and found their way to wherever it is they found their way to. I'm sure some got safe passage through pirates. I suspect most just kind of faded into obscurity and tried to hide. And then 50 to 100 years later, less than that, probably by 50 years after that, they had all passed away. I don't believe there was any direct line between Templar secrets and Freemasonry, if that makes any sense. Well, I mean, it sounds like he definitely played fast and loose with a lot of different things. But again, there's no way to know, right? And a lot of people made a lot of waves out of the idea of William Morgan. Um, but, um, you know, we don't know what happened. But I would not be shocked at all if, a group of Masons had their blood running hot, and at that time you get away with a lot more stuff, and who knows what it was actually about and their anger, but yeah. So, that I guess is Freemasonry in the Maritimes, in the sense that he was taken, the most common interpretation is he was taken in a boat to the middle of the Niagara River and thrown overboard, and then his badly decomposed body washed up on the shores of Lake Ontario. I wish Captain Jack Sparrow was a Freemason. That would be incredible. I'm still trying to find more about Edward Teach. I know I saw it somewhere. By the way, Prince Philip, decorated World War II Royal Navy officer. Ernest Shackleton was also a Freemason. Edward Blackbeard Teach, infamous pirate Blackbeard, is said to have been a Freemason, although historical records about his life are limited and often shrouded in legend. All right, so more discussions tomorrow. In the meantime, please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and if there's anything you want to chat about for a few minutes. This will be a shorter stream than usual because I do need to get myself to sleep to get ready for tomorrow's stream. We're just going to hang out for a bit, see who joins. Like I said, nothing major. This usual discussion is just about, this 1 a.m. streams are just hanging out. I love my pink sweater, but it's way too hot to wear a sweater today. Like, oh my God, could we please get some cooler weather? I did not. What about the documentary? I mean, it could have been. The problem is knowing for sure. He was up in the Arctic, right? Knowing for sure is hard because pirates, by their nature, right, are not. I mean, Freemasonry is secretive, and then on top of that, you have pirates who are even more secretive in some ways. So, yeah, it was in the Antarctic. He did 3 expeditions to the Antarctic. Um, he was also so he was an Irish Freemason. I mean, I cannot imagine because he got stuck in the Arctic. I'm pretty sure on at least one of the journeys. Right, United Grand Lodge of England has information about him. He was a doesn't have the name of the lodge in which he was a member. Oh, he was initiated into Navy Lodge number 2612 in London on July 9th, 1901. That's another thing to point out. There is, in fact, a Navy Lodge. It was founded for Royal Naval officers and graced by 4 monarchs. I do not believe in a hollow earth. I mean, I think I'm not an expert on it, but to my knowledge, I just believe in the earth as, the earth as we understand the earth to be, with a molten core and all the rest of it. I am very, very much looking forward to the end of this wonderful heat we are dealing with. We're almost there. I'm told it's supposed to be cooling down. In the meantime, please make sure that you are getting lots of fluids, taking care of yourself. If you're in Windsor, or anywhere where there's a heat warning, drink fluids, keep yourself cool, refreshed, all that good jazz. It's really, really, really vital and important because we want to see everybody around. Wasn't he the guy who thought there was a hollow earth and went on an expedition for it in the Arctic, I think? Didn't he claim to have found it? Well, Carl, I mean, whatever works for you. I guess I'm not a doctor, but that seems like it's not a very good thing to me. Um, Root beer, I'll think it's better than beer because alcohol dehydrates you more, I think. But either way, probably you should stick to water. Be healthy, people. Be healthy. It's important. I can't afford to lose any of my wonderful audience. I've heard of that, but I don't know much about it. Um, I believe I did. Let me see. BYRD. Yes, he became a Master Mason, Federal Lodge Number 1, Washington, D.C., March 19th, 1921, and affiliated with Kane Lodge Number 454, New York City, September 18th, 1928. Well, hence Limeys, right? Where that came from, which is a cool little thing. My dad's a Limey, but yeah, I've heard that. I know that story, right? I know that story. I mean, you know, just take care of yourself. Eat healthy, drink healthy, go to see your doctor regularly. Do all that stuff that you need to do to make sure you're keeping yourself healthy. I've said it a million times. We as Freemasons, I think, have a responsibility to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and being as healthy as we can be. Um, right? Not just for ourselves, but so that we can make sure that, We are we help others be healthy. We don't take resources away from others who need it by needing to go to the hospital anything more than necessary. Obviously, if we're sick, and we should go to the doctors, but we should try to limit the necessity of medical appointments. I don't think that's the case, sir. I think you still should see a doctor regularly. I don't think that Apple thing is 100% the case. He was a Texas brother. Yes, he was. There's a lot of, I mean, Freemasonry in Texas is pretty incredible. And we should all be, proud of not just Freemasonry in Texas, but Freemasonry around North America. But to its credit, Freemasonry in Texas is absolutely a blast. What is going on, CD? I hope that you are doing well. Just here hanging out. My 1 a.m. streams now are just more chat streams where I just talk about, anything in the chat. The 1 p.m. streams are more specific discussions. The upcoming specific discussion is going to be on tomorrow's, or I guess today's 1 p.m. stream. The stream in about 12 hours. It's going to be about Freemasonry in the Maritimes. We'll talk about the Royal Navy Lodge. We'll talk about some famous Masons who were naval men, such as Shackleton and John Paul Jones, and some of the legends around some possible, some possible pirates who may have been Freemasons, such as Blackbeard. But I hope that you are doing well. What about Led Zeppelin? Other than, a great band, everybody's third favorite band, right? It goes Beatles and Stones, or Stones and Beatles, and then Zeppelin has a lock on third place. How is the beach treating you? And I hope you're getting a chance to cool off because it is crazy hot, at least where I am. AC/DC is not in my favorite top 10, but it's a great band. My favorite, actually, song of all time is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. My favorite, is my favorite song. So, yeah, I love Leonard Skinner. They're my favorite band. But I think culturally, it goes, in terms of favorite bands, it goes... what was it? It goes Beatles and Stones, or Stones and Beatles. Well, get off that highway to hell. Be on the highway of, joining my Patreon and hitting the like and subscribe button. That's a much better highway to be on. I like the Ramones. We talk about Freemason musicians. I've talked about it before. The most famous one in 2025 would probably be Brad Paisley. But if I recall correctly, Louis Armstrong was one. I used to have a list somewhere. Mozart was a Freemason. I like Stairway to Heaven a lot. Nat King Cole. John Philip Sousa. Speaking of, America, what else do we got? Shaquille O'Neal, I guess, because he had a hip-hop album out, which I did not know about. So, there's that one. So, yeah. Probably, though, the most famous one is, in 2025, would be... I just said his name now. The country artist. Why can't I think of it again? Brad Paisley. And Brad Paisley actually is coming to London soon. I really want to see if I can't find a way to get him to visit our Masonic Lodge on his way. Well, it's about, it's very, I was very sad to see Ozzy pass too, CD. You're not wrong, EA. What I'd say is it's more about not even embracing and living a Masonic life. It's more about, what you can contribute and dedicate to the Masonic Lodge. Now, obviously, right, we have families, we have other commitments. We cannot give 100% of ourselves all of the time to Freemasonry. We have to focus on family, but as much as possible, we should try to contribute. Whenever you join anything, the goal should be to contribute and give as much as you can to it, I think. Um, well, I mean, I think in terms of religion, I wouldn't call it a way of life per se. I think that can be religious equals a way of life. Religion, I think, is as a noun, refers to a set of beliefs that have a promise of salvation, a threat of damnation, some type of creation story, as well as a single body charged with interpretation of documents from a higher power to the congregation. Very much an Enlightenment idea, Carl, and I 100% agree with that, by the way. I agree with that 100%. I think sometimes we are far too unaware of the impact we have on other people's lives. And I think that's very unfortunate. So I would agree with that all the way. I think it can be, CD, but I think the term religion, it's a little bit more involved than that, right? I would say belief in something greater than oneself. I would say that's more spiritualism than religion per se. I think religion has more specific sets of doctrines, practices, again, promises of salvations, promises of salvation and threats of damnation, all that good jazz. I think is much more in line with it. By the way, Alien Earth was just released. I don't know if you're a big fan of horror like I am, but as a lover of scary movies and anything scary, the fact that we have Alien Earth out, it excites me. And Disney Plus, by the way, my favorite paid streaming service. Well, theocracy is when you combine that with government. Which, and by the way, this is not exclusive to me. I would argue this is I'm speaking for Masonic philosophy when I say this, although there may be some Masons who disagree with me. I believe that a theocratic form of government would be opposed to Freemasonry, because theocracies tend to not be democratic, tend to not be based on, authority as being granted by individuals, but rather tends to come from, some type of supernatural governing agency enforced by a state, which I think that would be opposed to Freemasonry. Indeed, that was one of the reasons why the Catholic Church was so opposed to Freemasonry for so many years, and still is, because we are democratic and plural and tolerant, whereas theocracies are the opposite. Define government? Government I would define as the body which both sets forth the rules and has a monopoly of force when it comes to enforcing said rules, right? So, I live in Canada. We have a federal government. That government sets rules regarding criminal law, for example, and it has a monopoly of force in how those rules are enforced. So, for example, government says, murder is illegal. If somebody then kills a friend of mine, I can't go and kill them and say, well, I was just following what the government said because murder is illegal, so, I took care of it. Government has the exclusive monopoly and the exclusive right to actually enforce that rule, as with all rules. And there's different federal levels, right? So you have the federal government sets certain rules, and it has the widest jurisdiction. Then you have the provincial governments, which set their own set of rules, which has a more narrow jurisdiction. And then you have the municipal. And then you also have, for example, corporate governance, which, again, you have a corporation. It has a board of governors. They may set the rules for what happens within that corporation. They also have the exclusive authority in terms of monopoly on how to enforce those rules. I, I'm not sure that's the case. I don't think, is that? I mean, I know, for example, republic is Latin. It means the people's thing. Um, you do have three branches, right? So do we in Canada, right? It's different kind of set up, but executive, legislative, and judiciary. In any kind of democratic federalist system, those are going to be the three branches you have of some sort. Because if you don't have three branches, then you basically have a dictatorship. Maybe a limited dictatorship in that you can still have democratic elections, but the amount of power you give to one person if you combine all three branches is frightening. Um, you just want like the word, how you would define government? Um, right? I mean, it'd be the governing body of a nation, state, or community, right? So to direct, rule, guide, or govern, I guess would be it. So it was Latin. I always thought it came from French, right? I always thought it came from French first. I did not know it came from Latin. I knew that res publica, republic, means the people's thing. But yeah, so to the extent to which I would like people to direct, rule, guide, or govern my day-to-day life, as governments do, I'd like it to not be based on religion or theocracies or religious doctrines. I'd much prefer it to be based on some type of democratic system in which I get a say and a vote in how I would like things to operate. So, the judicial e pluribus unum, says Carl. The judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. I mean, most groups have something like that. Even in Freemasonry, we have something like that. It's not exactly the same. But there are kind of branches. There are different offices or different responsibilities. Making sure that we don't, we're careful not to um, combine all of them into, give too much power to any one person. Um, right? And democracy and theocracies are kind of um, opposed, right? There seems to be this move in the States now where they're saying, it's all theocracy. In a democracy, the theocracy is the demos, the people. But it's like, no, it's not the same thing. It's like it's full of baloney. Oh, so it came from Old French gouverneur. I guess it came from before Old French came from Latin. Cool. I don't want to be the overlord of anybody. I can barely, take care of myself and my own life. I don't need the responsibilities of taking care of somebody else or overloading somebody else. Because we got CD on here, I don't know if you've seen a very cool CD. That's awesome. I'd love to maybe have you on the podcast waiting to talk about it. So, I figured I might as well mention, since I got you here, CD, and a few other people. I don't know if you've seen this, but I got a lot of fun stuff happening in the next couple weeks. August 16th, I've got a live streaming. I'm live streaming at the Windsor Hip Hop Festival, 12 to 2 p.m. Atkinson Park. If you live in this area, come check it out in person. But if not, 12 to 2 p.m. live streaming from the Windsor Hip Hop Festival. On the 20th at 3 to 6, I'm live streaming on Instagram. That'll be a lot of fun. And then August 21st, starting at 2 p.m., another 24-hour live stream. I'm going to be showing off all of my really cool Masonic, just everything, Masonic pins, Masonic coins. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait for it. No worries. Just check out whatever you can. Obviously, for the 24-hour live stream, I do not expect everybody to stick around for the whole 24 hours. That's insane. Just everybody calm down. But jump in and out. Jump in, say hello, jump out, jump in, jump out. So cold, Kold. You can't see what he's saying to me, because YouTube hid it, the moderating on YouTube. But he said, "So you're a wannabe satanic Freemason." Um, well, and then he says some other stuff. Then he calls me a tard. You know, Cold, if you want to have a discussion, by all means, I'd love to chat with you, but you got to be nicer to me than that. You got to be at least somewhat civil. Otherwise, YouTube's going to kick you off. But jump in the chat and say hello and let me know what your thoughts are on Freemasonry. I mean, I can guess they're not good. But if you want to put some specifics down, I'll try to answer them. What's the difference between state and government? Well, I mean, I don't know if there is a difference between state and government. I mean, I think state can be a more general term. It can refer to like the area of land. It can refer to the people within that area of land. Whereas government tends to mean more specific to the actual modes and operations of governance, of guiding the people therein. He is in the Old Testament. That is true. That is true. Yeah, there's a lot of goofballs out there. It's okay. He's welcome to jump in the chat and say hello. He just got to be respectful enough that YouTube doesn't jump in and kick him out. I appreciate that, CD, but I don't expect anybody to spend, 24 hours with me. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to show off all the cool things I've got. I've been very lucky to be able to travel as much as I have. And part of that means I've been able to gather a lot of coins and pins. And also it gives us a chance to talk about, how we can store these things, save these things, why it's important that we save these things, why all of this stuff matters. It's very easy to forget about how important it is to actually protect our stuff. Yeah, I know, but there's these people out there. What are you going to do? It is like a time capsule. It is like a time capsule, Ryan, and that's something I love about it. I would ask this fella to hit the like and subscribe button, but I don't think he's going to, which is okay. Some Masonic lodges have done that. Some Masonic lodges have put cornerstones, or time capsules in their cornerstones, which is really, really good idea, I think. I'd love to see more of that type of stuff being done. Nice, Alonzo. That's really cool. I'm sure it's something that maybe connects you to your family or to your ancestors or to, friends. I'm not sure, who it connects you to, but that is very, very cool and that's awesome. So, yeah. I don't disagree, Courtney. If everybody would just chill out a little bit, things would be a lot better. But, you can't unfortunately expect everybody to chill out, so that's okay. It just kind of is what it is. There's enough things to be happy about. And one thing I've been trying to do lately is try to every day find one type of benefit, one type of exciting thing. It can be a big victory, a small victory, just one kind of victory that I can, take with me every day. And usually I can find one. So that's a really nice thing to do. And it keeps me from getting angry at the core. I can't think of his name. The colds of the world who have more negative things to say about me. Right? If I can find a positive every day, that helps. I'll take it. I'll take that as a victory. I support that 100%. More people should have that victory. Right? More people should have that victory. I do hope, once again, though everybody's doing well, I hope that you guys be able to check out Alien Earth. If you're like me, I wonder if there's any Freemasonry and aliens. Probably. Freemasonry alien franchise. Let's see. That's very true. Right? And I've seen those photos as well of like, um, it's like the Milky Way galaxy, and it's this one arrow pointing to like where Earth would be, but you can't see it because it's just this giant galaxy, and it's like you're here stressed in the shower because things are going your way. And it kind of reminds you how tiny and insignificant we are and how vast the universe is, and to keep that in mind. So, um, oh my God. There's a movie called Space Masons and the Alien Conspiracy. The film features a narrative where I had no idea where the Freemasons are connected to an alien conspiracy, uncovering mysteries and battling against forces from another world. Listening more is a good idea. I have to check that out. That is genius. I will watch the poop out of that. I gotta find it somewhere. By the way, earlier today I got my updated library card. I'm a huge believer in public libraries, so if you can, get a library card. Support the library. Support your local library. They're massively important. They help a lot. Freemasons have actually donated a lot of books to the library, so. C are not tiny. I have no idea what that even means. It does, Ryan. It does. We are not tiny. That's what the. I do not agree with that at all, Wolfgang. I think, in comparison of the size of the universe, we are incredibly tiny. We are as tiny can be. That's not to say we're not important, because we are important, but there's a difference between being important and, importance in terms of the scale or size of the universe. The universe is what, 13.8? I forget how big the universe is. 13.6 billion years old, at least, size-wise. That's a whole other can of tuna. We've had a few people on here who think space is fake or flat earther. I'm not sure if that's what you are, Wolfgang. Either way, I'm still happy you're here, but I gotta disagree with you. I am much more on the Carl side of it. We are an endless, we are a drop of water in an endless ocean. You're not nobody or nothing. You are a and that matters a lot. But in the big scheme of things, yes, we are all nobody. But that doesn't mean you're not important to me, which hopefully means something. Wolfgang, how's it going? I think you've been on the stream before, but if not, I hope you hit the like and subscribe button. To everybody watching this, please hit the like and subscribe button. Anybody who's anti-Freemasonry, and we had at least one person on before, please take a moment to jump in the chat and let me know why you have those thoughts. It does help with humility a lot. It also helps on the other end of it. Where like if you are new, or if you are having struggles in life of some sort, and you're really getting in your own head with it, remembering how small you are compared to how big the universe is, and therefore how small your problems are compared to how big the universe is, can actually be a really good way to remind yourself not to take those problems too seriously, and to just kind of relax a little bit, because otherwise it can start to feel like it's everything, and it's a good way to kind of get over yourself a little bit, because sometimes if you think you're hot shit and you're the best, and you're super important and you have no humility. One of the dangers of that is when everything goes bad, you start to feel like you're just miserable and a loser, and that's super challenging. So, good for you, CD. That can build character, but don't seek too much struggles. Try to find a balance. Life is balance, and yes, Carl, it is all small stuff. My lodge's names, I'm part of 5 lodges, Ryan McKee. Windsor 403, Harmony 579, Border Cities Lodge 554, Lodge Holy Land number 50 and Tranquility Lodge. So I would say Children of the Supreme Being is the word I would use, but Creator counts just as well, Wolfgang. And yeah, I thought I recognized you. The name, right? Reminds me of the chef, Wolfgang Puck. So I try to talk about like Freemasonry and fine dining. I want to have some Masonic chefs on here at some point. That's one of my goals. If you are just joining us, jump in the chat and say hello. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and if there's anything you want to chat about. I talk about Freemasonry. I gave you the lodge names. The 5 lodges I'm a member of, right? I'm 5 of them. So yeah, it can be a lot, but that's okay. I mean, I regularly attend my 3 here in Windsor, plus I visit all the time. The remainder, I'm an affiliate thereof. Solar Man, I think you are new, Solar Man. Welcome. Everything is one. I don't disagree with you on that. Solar Man, I hope you hit the like and subscribe button. I think you're new. But let me know how you're doing if you have any questions about Freemasonry. I mean, CD, the famous quote is everything in moderation, including moderation, right? So that's kind of a good way to look at it. I really want to visit Thailand, Wolfgang. That is 1,000,000% a place I want to visit. Because there's Freemasonry in a few places in Thailand, but Bangkok most famously. So I really wanted to check that place out really badly because I hear it's got some incredible Masonic history to it. It's just expensive to get there. I'm sure it's very cheap once I am there, but it's expensive to actually visit. And that's kind of the challenge. And everybody is nobody. You could argue it that way as well. Solar Man, let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, how you came across the stream. Were you searching for us? Do you follow us on social media? And let me know what your thoughts are. This morning or this afternoon, yesterday at 1 p.m., I was talking about Freemasonry and Moneyball. Today, I'm just hanging out. And then in about 12 hours, I'm going to talk about Freemasonry and the Navy, or Freemasonry and seafaring. So that should be a lot of fun. I mean, I just do a quick Google search. Like, let me type it in now. Let's see. Oops. Flights. Yeah, I would fly out of Toronto to Bangkok, Thailand. So it's 1,180 to take multiple airlines, Canadian, which, I mean, it's not crazy when you consider how far you'd be traveling, but it would still be a lot. Now, you can help me by joining my Patreon and giving me, $5 a month, or even joining for free. Wolfgang, I don't know if you're interested. YouTube can be challenging some ways. I appreciate that very much, CD. You can go to patreon.com/compass. Patreon.com/square and compass, and you can sign up for my Patreon. And I very much appreciate it. Eric says he's not interested. That is perfectly fine, Eric, or Elric. You do not have to be interested. I just appreciate you being here. And when you say not interested, you mean not interested in Freemasonry, not interested in the Patreon? To what are you not interested in? I'm selling nothing. I mean, well, I guess I'm selling my Patreon. So Square and Compass Promotions, this is my channel. The purpose is to talk about Freemasonry, the way Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. And the reason I do that is because I love Freemasonry. I love talking about it. Whether people are interested in joining or not joining, I don't care at all one way or the other on that. It's perfectly fine to me either way. It's just something I love doing and love talking about. And then part of that means, to keep doing it, I do hope people will support my Patreon as well as subscribe to the channel, like the videos. Just let me talk about the thing I love to talk about. Um, Patreon.com/square and compass. But if you all pay me enough, then maybe I can visit Thailand. Who knows? And you get different items, right? Courtney's got a couple. So I love the Stonecutters episode of The Simpsons. It's called Homer the Great, for the record, just so people know. It's called Homer the Great. Um, I do think Freemasonry makes the world a better place. I think, I've talked about this before, but I think Freemasonry is the belief that the world is worth fighting for through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. And I truly believe that to be the case. So, yeah, no homers. That's a great episode. And for most Masons, it's legitimately their favorite episode, I think, of The Simpsons. It's mine. I love it. So, it's interesting that you mentioned notifications. It's CD. It seems like right now, like 90% or 80% of my audience actually don't have the notifications turned on, which means when I'm doing new episodes, they miss them. Which is why, if you're subscribing, turn your notifications on. Um, and follow me on social media as well. So for whatever reason your notifications are off, you still find me through the other means. Just a reminder, one more time, coming up August 16th, live stream from the Windsor Hip Hop Festival. August 20th, 3 p.m. Instagram live stream. August 21st, 24-hour live stream. Oh, it's great. We do. I love that whole thing. It's awesome, right? I used to know that song, Who Keeps the Metric System Down? Who rigs the Oscars every night? I'm gonna look up this song. I'm curious. Stonecutters song. I appreciate that, Solar Man. Here it is. Stonecutters song lyrics. We do. Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do. Who leaves Atlantis off the maps? Who keeps the Martians under wraps? Who holds back the electric car? Who makes Steve, I don't know who Steve Gutenberg is. Who makes Steve Gutenberg a star? Who robs K-Fish of their sight? Who rigs the Oscars every night? It's a great song. It's a great song. Other ways to show love to my channel, Solar Man, is, like I said, patreon.com/square and compass. You can join for free. Doesn't cost anything, or you can join at $2 a month or something. Sharing the stream with others, all that good jazz helps out big time. And just being here and jumping in the chat truly helps out as well, and I truly appreciate it. So thank you so much. Like I said, I do 2 streams. I do 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. Monday through Friday. The 1 a.m. streams are more relaxed. Oftentimes I don't really have specific topics. 1 p.m. streams, I have specific topics. Or I try to, like coming up, Freemasonry and the Maritimes. I love the sea. I love water. I love swimming. I wish I got to spend more time in my pool. I have this pool here in the condo. I never take advantage of it. I feel really bad about that because I love swimming. I'm going to, try to take advantage of it tomorrow because I never get the chance. Hopefully the lodge is still active. It might be a smaller lodge, or it might not have as many meetings or membership. Sometimes smaller towns, it's much smaller in terms of what their lodges are like and how often you see them. What is the peninsula? By the way, to everybody, welcome. If you're just joining us, please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you think of Freemasonry. Okay, so maybe it's just they have their meetings less frequently. I mean, I think it's a shame. I think one of the things that demonstrates a positive Masonic lodge is the activity within and how many times you see people walking in or out. If you have a Masonic lodge and you never see anybody going in and out the front doors, I think it can, make people think Freemasonry is dying, and that creates kind of a cascading effect. Same thing, right? It's like the closer you are to something, the more you take advantage of it. Actually, Wolfgang, there's a really cool. So I talked about this with motivations and things that motivate people. One of the issues is you would think that the more access somebody has to something, the more motivated they would be to take advantage of it. And it's actually the opposite, because if like if you have a gym in your apartment, because it's so close and easy to get to, it makes it easy for people to procrastinate and decide that, you know what, they'll go tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Whereas if you have to drive an hour to get to your gym, you're ironically more motivated to go because you need to drive to get there. Yeah, no, I mean, parking lots in the back, it's true for my Masonic building, it's true for almost all of them. But you still want to have come around to the front doors to enter and exit so the public can see the activity, right? I think that is the key. I once again, no, I mean, Freemasons are kind of famous for not wanting to make an invite. To join, you have to take the first step by going and talking to them. And even at the start, don't really talk about or think about wanting to join. Just want to get more information, want to meet the guys, want to learn about them, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them if you do join. And just focus on that. You know, what you can do is knock on the door, see if anybody's home and is willing to talk to you. If they're having a meeting, they may, ask you to come back later, but they'll give you their contact info, or you can write them a letter. That's what I did. And I think sometimes writing a letter might be nice, snail mail. Might be nice to get some postage from, back in the day, um, as opposed to like the more informal sometimes feeling that comes with email. Oh, rain delay, or at least it was a rain delay for the White Sox at Detroit. I saw that rain. It was quite substantial. But I'm wondering if maybe they played. Oh, Tigers defeated the White Sox. Well, I guess technically my two teams are the White Sox and the Tigers. So I talked earlier about Freemasonry and sports. There's some interesting, Masonic sports heroes. Um, but yeah, the White Sox are my team. So, and because we're talking about sports and baseball, that's why during the 1 p.m. stream, I guess yesterday, I focused on Freemasonry and Moneyball, uh, where I think there's a lot of value to it. Not at the quote unquote Blue Lodge level or Craft Lodge. Now, if you wanted to join Scottish Rite or York Rite, you get and wear some pretty cool stuff. But that's different degrees. At the start, it's usually suit and tie, depending on the what's the word I'm looking for, and I can't think of it now. Depending on the dress code of the jurisdiction. No, White Sox number one. Chicago White Sox. Are you being literal? Like the Yankees are number one right now in the league, or are they just your favorite team? Thank you, CD, for being here. I truly appreciate it. Okay, yeah, for me, see, I'm not a huge sports guy. I just focus so much on Freemasonry and professional wrestling. I don't have time for anything else. But if I had to pick a favorite sports team, it would be the White Sox because of Chicago. Baseball, anyways. Football, Winnipeg Blue Bombers or Montreal Alouettes. Professional wrestling, John Cena is my favorite. He is the franchise. If you want to talk about who is the Yankees of wrestling, it would be John Cena. Big match, John. I bet on a completely separate note, the WWE posters for their upcoming pay-per-view, I forget what it's called now, Clash in Paris. Those posters look incredible. I think that with the Starry Night in the background, that is absolutely unbelievably cool. So I'm guessing then maybe, Courtney, you enjoyed specifically today's stream or the stream yesterday 1 p.m. We talked about baseball through Moneyball, and I hope you had a chance to read what I wrote about Freemasonry and Moneyball, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you, Elric. Don't forget, if you want to and you get the chance, I hope that you will check out my Patreon, follow me on social media. Thank you for being here. I really, really appreciated you. It was nice. Appreciate you being here, and it was nice to meet you as well. And thank you for asking the questions. They were great. I loved them, and appreciate the questions very much. We're probably going to be ending this stream in a couple minutes. Not that it hasn't been an absolute blast, but I do got to get some sleep because I got to make sure tomorrow I can talk all about Freemasonry and the sea. And also, I've got, boats. I actually once knew a Freemason who was a boat captain, so that was really cool. So I've actually been lucky enough to know some in the past who made their living as boat captains. Not as romantic, he was saying, as it's portrayed on movies, but then again, is it ever? All right, I think what I will do is end this stream for now. It's been a great one. It's been a fun one. We got some new people joining. I got some old favorites back, so thank you so much. But I hope that you will take a moment to, like I said, hit the like, subscribe button, turn on your notifications. Tomorrow, Freemasonry and boats, Freemasonry and the maritime, Freemasonry and the Navy, Freemasonry and the sea. The Old Man and the Sea, Freemasonry and the sea. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you all soon. Have a excellent, excellent night.